Page 4. So we want the antiderivative of this, which would be raise the power by 1, so it would be 4x to the 2 and divide by 2, minus raise the power by 1, x to the 4th divided by 4. So this, and plus c, so this is 2x squared minus 1/4 x to the 4th plus c. And we're supposed to put in 1 and get 5. If I put 1 in here, I get 2. If I put 1 in here, I get minus 1/4 plus c is supposed to come out to be 5. The antiderivative evaluated at 1 is supposed to be 5. So we can figure out the c. 2 minus 1/4 is 1 3/4. We have to subtract it from both sides, and we get 3 3/4. So c has to be 3 1/4. If I subtract 1 3/4 from 5, I get 3 1/4. So the final answer for f of x, capital F of, actually this should be x in here, another typo, and x here, should be 2x squared plus minus 1/4 x to the 4th plus 3 1/4. Okay, and then this one. Okay, you can do this a couple ways here. You can look at a square and say that looks like it's 2 by -3, so -6 is a square. And we have how many squares? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish, 12.5 maybe. -12.5 squares of -6. So these would be positive, and we have to go to 16, which isn't to the end of the graph. 16 is here, which is there. So there's 1, 2, maybe 3. So 3 positive 6s, so that's 18. This is 72, 75. So -75 plus 18, that would be, take 8 off, would be 67, 57. So -57. It talks about meters, so we need to say meters. And it says moving to the right. And if we get a negative, that means it's left. Talking about the concept of in the context here. Left of start by 57 meters. Now, some people did it this way. They said, okay, this looks like a rectangle that's 6 by 6, -6, which is -36. This is 6 by -3 in half, so 6 by -3 is -18, so -9, half of it. This is a triangle. It's roughly 5 by -9, which is -45 in half, which is -22.5. This is roughly 5 by 3, 6, 7, 8. 8 by 5 is 40, but it's a triangle, so it's half of that, 20. Doing that, we get 45, 57.5, 67.5, minus 20 is 47.5. So then we'd say to the left 47.5. And so I'm allowing a range of answers here, somewhere in that range. Determine the total distance traveled after the first 16 seconds. So then instead of doing some minus and some plus, we just count it all as pluses because we're counting traveling backwards as some distance and forward as some distance. So you just have to add these up. So 75 plus 18 is 95, or this plus 20 is 67. No, excuse me. Minus 47 was this minus 20, so we have to add 27 and 20 and 20 that we took off, so that makes 87. So somewhere around 90 meters distance. 97, 87, something. Okay. This one. The biggest mistake on this was people didn't realize that this doesn't say there's 3 terms. It says I counts from -2, goes to -1, to 0, to 1, to 2, to 3. We got to put all those in for the i's. If you put -2 in here, you get -8, and -2 cubed is -8, and we got minus a -8, which is 0 for our first term. Then we got to add, because it's a sum. Got to put in -1, so that's -4, minus a -1, so -4 plus 1, which is -3. We put in 0 and we get 0. We put in 1 and we get 4 minus 1, which is 3. So far I've got a total of 0. Put in 2 and I get 8 minus 8. 2 to the third is 8. So I'm still a total of 0. And then I got to put the 3 in. That's 12 minus 27, which is -15. So my answer is -15. And finally, this one. Now, some people recognize that this was times 2, and so on. And let's see, we'll write it out here. We got 8 times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64, times 2 is 128, times 2 is 256, times 2 is 512. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 terms. Now I'm going to write this differently to help you see this. This was 8. This is 8 times 2. This is this times 2, so it's 8 times 2 times 2. This is 8 times 2 times 2 times 2. 8 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 8 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 times 2, 6 times. 8 times 2, 8 times 2 squared, 8 times 2 to the third, 8 times 2 to the fourth, 8 times 2 to the fifth, 8 times 2 to the sixth. I'm trying to give you hints here. Oh, so this could be the sum of 8 times 2 to the I, where I starts at 0, 2 to the 0, 2 to the 1, 2 to the 2, and ends when I is 6. And this must match the one you're using here. You can't call this n and do x or X and I or whatever. They got to match up. Now, some people might have recognized these as 8 is 2 to the third, 16 is 2 to the fourth, 32 is 2 to the fifth, and 512 is 2 to the ninth, if they know their powers of 2. So we could have written this as I starting at 3 and going to 9 of just 2 to the I. And there's other ways to write it, but those might be the two most common for this one.